This is Lesson 7.3, Understanding Experimental Probability. First is our vocabulary. Relative frequency is the ratio of the number of times an event occurs to the total number of trials. Experimental probability is the actual or relative frequency after the task has been completed. Relative frequency and experimental probability are basically synonyms for each other. Your key concept on page 370 explains to us what relative frequency and experimental probability are. Experimental probability, unlike theoretical probability, will change each time an experiment is carried out. Theoretical probability is based on the knowledge of your outcomes and what should take place. Experimental probability is based on data and is what actually takes place. One thing to note about experimental and theoretical probability is that while they should be the same, they are not. And experimental probability tends to get closer to the theoretical probability as more trials are conducted. So if you are doing an experiment and your probabilities are different, more than likely you need to conduct more trials. Let's start looking at our questions in our book starting on page 370. Questions 4 through 6. Kelly flips a coin 20 times. The results shown are in the table where H represents the coin landing on heads and T represents the coin landing tails up. Now, since the table is showing her results, the table is giving us the experimental probability. Question 4 asks us for the theoretical probability that the coin will land heads up. Theoretical probability looks at what you have, and when we deal with a coin, we have heads and we have tails. So theoretically, there's one head out of two sides. So the theoretical probability would be 1 out of 2, or 50%. Question 5. Based on the data, the experimental probability that the coin will land head up. Since this question is asking us for the experimental probability, we need to look at the data in the table. And we want to know how many of the times we landed heads up. So we're going to go through and count the results that are marked as H. So go through and circle and count all of your H's. After we do this, we find that we landed on heads up 11 times out of 20, or this could also be considered 55% of the time. Let's look at question 6 now. Question 6 wants us to compare the experimental and the theoretical probability. The experimental probability was the 55%. The theoretical was the 50%. And we can see that the experimental is greater than the theoretical probability. Question 7. The table shows the results of spinning a wheel 80 times. What is the relative frequency of the event spin a 3? Now, this question is asking about relative frequency. Relative frequency is experimental probability. Therefore, we're going to look at our data. And we're wanting to look at the experimental of spinning a 3. So we want the outcome of a 3. The 3 occurred 18 times. So the relative frequency, the number of times an event occurs, and in this case, it occurred 18 times, over the number of trials, and that would be 80 times. 18 over 80 is our fraction, and we want to turn it into a percent, so divide 18 divided by 80 and multiply by 100, and that gives us 22.5% as the relative frequency. Question 8. Liz flips a coin 50 times. The coin lands head up 20 times and tails up 30 times. Complete each statement. Since Liz is doing something, her data is going to give us experimental probability. Our first statement, the theoretical probability of the coin landing heads up. Now, theoretical probability is based on what you have with the coin, so it's what should happen. And a coin landing heads up should be 1 out of 2, half of the time, or 50%. So we should get 50-50, half heads, half tails. But based on Liz's results, we want to look at the experimental probability of the coin landing heads up. The coin landed heads up 20 times. So it landed 20 out of 50 times. So 20 out of 50 is 2/5 or 40%. So based on her experimental probability, the heads landed 40% of the time. Now our question, the theoretical probability of 50% is blank than the experimental probability of 40%. And 50 is greater than 40, so the theoretical probability is greater than the experimental probability. Question 9. Jess spins a pointer 25 times and finds an experimental probability of the pointer landing on 3 to be 4 out of 25, or 16%. The theoretical probability of the spinner landing on 3 is 1 out of 4, or 25%. Why might there be a significant difference between the theoretical and experimental probabilities? Okay, this goes back to the key concept on page 370. The last sentence tells us that the experimental probability tends to get closer to the theoretical probability of an experiment as more trials are conducted. So, why might there be a significant difference? It looks like Jess needs to conduct more trials. Question 10. The table shows the results of a survey of 100 people randomly selected at an airport. Find the experimental probability that a person is going to city E. Since we are looking for the experimental probability, we want to look at our responses. So for city E, we had 8 responses. That is 8 out of 100 people. So that gives us the fraction 8 over 100, which reduces to 2 out of 25. This could also be considered 8% probability that a person is going to city E. Next, we have question 11. The theoretical probability of selecting a consonant at random from a list of letters in the alphabet is 21 out of 26. Wayne opens a book, randomly selects a letter on the page, and records the letter. He repeats the experiment 200 times. He finds that the probability of a consonant is 60%. How does the theoretical probability differ from the experimental probability, and what are some possible sources for this discrepancy? The theoretical probability that we have to pick a consonant is 21 out of 26. That is about 80.8% probability of getting a consonant. The experimental probability of Wayne's experiment gave him 60% probability of getting a consonant. The theoretical probability is greater than the experimental probability. This may be because of the number of trials that Wayne did. Wayne may need to do more trials. It could also depend on the type of book that he is doing. He may need to use different books. So there's a lot of different factors regarding his experiment, but one of the main ones is the number of trials. Question number 12. 7 different names are written onto sticks and placed into a cup. A stick is chosen 100 times, out of which the name Grace is chosen 23 times. How do the theoretical probability and experimental probability compare? And explain why there is a discrepancy between them, if there is any. All right, our theoretical probability of what should happen is that the name Grace is 1 out of 7 possible selections. That is equal to about 14%. Based on our experiment, her name was chosen 23 out of 100 times. That is about 23%. This is an obvious discrepancy because the experimental probability is a lot greater than the theoretical probability. This could be, 1, the amount of trials. There may need to be more trials done. It could also be maybe the cup wasn't shaken, so the sticks weren't random enough to be drawn. A few different factors regarding the experiment, but mostly going back to the number of trials. Question 13. Each of 3 friends flips a coin 36 times. Angel records tails 20 times. Michael records tails 17 times, and Fernanda records tails 23 times. Find the relative frequency with which each friend records tails. Relative frequency, again, is our experimental probability. So let's start looking at Angel's first. Angel recorded 20 out of 36 for his experimental probability. You can reduce this down to 5/9 or even about 56%. Michael records tails 17 out of 36 times. This goes down to about 47%. And then Fernanda, she flipped tails 23 out of 36 times. And this is about 64%. So Angel had about 56% of the time. Michael had about 47% of the time. And Fernanda had about 64% of flipping tails. Part B. Which friend has a relative frequency that is closest to the theoretical probability of flipping tails 36 times? Theoretically, you should get tails 50% of the time. A coin is a 50-50 shot. So Michael is the closest to 50%. He is only about 3% off. And with 36, 50% would only be 18 out of 36 times, and he got 17 of that. Question 14. In a survey, 125 people were asked to choose one card out of 5 cards labeled 1 to 5. The results are shown in the table. Compare the theoretical probability and the experimental probability of choosing a card with the number 1. When given a table, the data, the experimental is going to be the frequency. Your theoretical is actually going to be looking at what you could do. In this problem, we're wanting to focus on the number 1. So theoretically, 1 out of 5, or 20%, should be drawing a card with the number 1. But if I look experimentally, I'm going to look at the frequency, and that was 15 times out of 125. And that is about 12%. Based on this, the experimental probability is less than the theoretical probability. Question 15. The best player on a basketball team makes 75% of all free throws. The second best player makes 70% of all free throws, and the third best player makes 65% of all free throws. Based on their experimental probabilities, estimate the number of free throws each player will make in his or her next 40 attempts and explain. The explanation is through the work. We're going to start off with our number 1 best player, and we're told that the best player makes 75% of all free throws. So if he makes 75% of his free throws, then we're going to find 75% of the next 40 free throws. And to find 75% of 40, we're going to turn our percent into a decimal. 0.75 of tells us to multiply, and we're going to do 0.75 times 40. This will give us a finding of 30 out of the next 40 attempts. Let's do the same thing for our second and third best players. Our second best player makes 70% of free throws. So if he's going to make 70% of his next 40, so change our percent to a decimal, being 0.7 of is multiply to 40, and we find that 0.7 times 40 is 28. We should expect the second best player to make 28 of the 40 free throws. Now our third best player is estimated to make 65% of all free throws. So we're going to go through the same process, and we're going to find 65% of the next 40 attempts. Same thing, 0.65 is our 65% of, tells us to multiply, and we're going to multiply it by 40 and find that the third best player should make 26 of his next 40 attempts. The main goal in this is to look at the difference between theoretical and experimental. Theoretical is what should take place on what you see. Experimental is what happens after you conduct experiments. Keep this in mind as you move on to the handout involving theoretical and experimental probability.